guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you my makeup routine. This is my go-to natural makeup routine that I do all the time, and I haven't like broken it down in a while, so I figured I might as well since I'm getting ready to go eat brunch with my family. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So first thing I do is clip my hair back. Obviously I have these clips that are from Amazon, and my hair is kind of doing some weird stuff today, so I really need to clip it down. So first step is to prep my skin, which is honestly one of the most important steps, because no matter what or how much makeup you lay on top of your skin, if you can't prep your skin well, then makeup's not going to come out as good as it can be. So that's what we're going to be starting with. So as you guys can see, I have some redness here and here. I don't know why I get these, because they're not like actual like blemishes or pimples. They're flat, but they disappear after a day. So yeah, I always have those. And then I cut my lip open right here. Those are really the things that I need to cover. But on a daily basis, I pretty much never wear foundation. Even for dance stuff, I'll wear the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter, which isn't a foundation either, but it kind of evens your skin tone. So we're not going to be wearing foundation today. First, I use the Refi Clear Eye Balm, which just kind of helps wake me up a little bit. I really don't know if it does anything besides feel nice. I just like to put this on before I start. And then I go in with my moisturizer, which is the Youth to the People Superfood Moisturizer. I've used this for a long time. I love it. I'm also starting to use the cleanser. Hopefully gonna love it as much as I love this moisturizer. My skin really needs like those gel-ish moisturizer, not necessarily cream ones. I feel like I discovered that in high school when I went to my dermatologist to get a facial, and she was like, you need one of those. Everyone's skin is different, so some people might need like a thicker actual cream. Another moisturizer that I really like is the Tatcha water cream. It's also amazing. It's just a bit more expensive, so I use it less often. So I love both of these. On winter days, sometimes I do need an actual like cream moisturizer. I use the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, which is this one here. With my skin, I have to like adapt my moisturizer just because it changes a lot. And then I move on to bronzing drops. I love the Drunk Elephant ones, obviously. I also really like the Say ones. On an everyday basis, I'll use the Drunk Elephant ones. I kind of like both of them equally, so there's no like particular reason why I prefer these or wear these more. They are more expensive than the Say ones. Both of them work just as well, so if you're looking for something that's less expensive than the Drunk Elephant ones, the Say ones are amazing. And always make sure to put moisturizer down my neck. Any skincare product that you put on at night in the morning, you want to bring down to your neck, because your neck is the first place that shows signs of aging, so it really helps when you bring it down. I would say definitely my night skincare routine has a lot more product in it, and that's kind of where I do the most of my skincare, because I don't like to do a lot of skincare underneath my makeup. I just feel like sometimes it kind of ruins it when you have just too much product already on your skin. But you can definitely see the bronzing drops definitely tanning me up a little bit. So once that's blended in, I'm gonna go in with my primer. I use the Refi primer. This is the Glow and Sculpt face primer. So you basically have to like squeeze and like roll it onto your skin. So you squeeze the tube and then roll the primer on. Rub it in. Also want to make sure you bring it up under your eyes. I don't use like eye primer for my eyelids or anything, so that's really the only primer I put on. Next, I'm gonna move on to concealer, but this is where you should do your foundation if you are wearing foundation. If I do wear any, it will be the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter, but that will be mostly if I go to like a fancier dinner or if I'm having trouble with my skin. The main reason why I honestly don't wear foundation is because I have natural freckles, and I don't see the point of covering them with foundation and then having to draw them over again if I already have them. So we're gonna start with concealer. I use two different concealers for my face. So the first concealer I use is the Kosas Revealer Super Creamy Brightening Concealer, and this is in the shade 1.5C, and I use this one on any redness that's on my face, so basically everywhere besides under my eyes, mostly for brightening, not to cover up anything really on the side of my eyes. And then I blend this concealer out with just a regular beauty blender blender and I sprayed water onto it, so nothing special. The Real Techniques sponges are also amazing, so you don't need to buy proper like beauty blender. And then I make sure I bring my concealer up like around my nose. I do tend to be red there. I make sure to tap super lightly. If you tap and move around too much, that's when your concealer loses coverage. And I'm gonna move on to under my eyes now. So I use the Sephora Best Skin Ever concealer. The reason I have two of these is because I keep picking the wrong shade. This one's a bit too dark and this one's a bit too light, so instead of buying a third one, I just decided to mix them. I'm just bad at shade matching, to be honest, and I probably should have asked someone, but I just mixed the two. So I bring the product all under my eyes, and then once it's like everywhere, that's when I blend it in. I'm gonna make sure to bring it up also on my eyelid. So once that is all blended out, I'm done with concealer. I'm gonna do my cream products now. So my cream for liquid bronzer and blush, and then I'll do powder. So for my liquid, this is liquid contour, and this is in the shade Mellow. This is the Rare Beauty one. I really like this because it's buildable, but it's not also orange. Since it is contour, it doesn't have that orange undertone. It's more of like a gray undertone. So I basically put it underneath my cheekbone, around my forehead, under my chin, and then two very small dots on the side of my nose. And I'm going to take a little buffing brush. This is from Nude Stick, so it has two sides. It has the big one and then this little one. I use this little one for my nose. For the rest of my face, I just use this big one and just kind of want to tap it in. And same thing for my forehead. Blend it in and make sure I bring it up to my hairline. And with the small side of it, I tap it on the side of my nose and bring it down the side, and there you go. I'm now going to do cream or liquid blush. Really depends on the day. I never really use the same blush, but I would say my favorites are these Rode Pocket blushes. I probably use the shade Freckle the most. I also really like the Charlotte Tilbury liquid blushes. This is the shade I probably use the most as well, which is in the shade Worth. That's probably like one of the products that I changed the most throughout my routine. But today I'm going to use the Rode one in the shade Freckle, and I just like swipe it on. And I'm using a Real Techniques brush. This is Expert Foundation brush, and I just bring my blush out, if that makes sense, like blend it that way. And we're gonna move on to powder. So I used a pressed powder for under my eyes. I love the Rare Beauty tinted pressed finishing powder. This is in the shade Porcelain. And for under my eyes, I use a small brush like this. This is a Morphe brush. It doesn't have a number on it or anything, but it's most likely like an eyeshadow brush that I've just used for powder. And I get some powder on it. And with my beauty blender, I make sure that there's no creases in my concealer and that everything's sort of blended in before I put powder on it and set it that way. So I gently tap the powder underneath my eye. Also want to make sure that I go on my lid. So you kind of want to set the whole area around your eye with a smaller brush, just because it's more precise than a bigger powder blush. I don't know, I just prefer it that way. Same thing for the other side. So that is the powder for around your eye. It's all done. And now for the rest of my face, I do one of two things. I either still use a pressed powder but in a different shade. Porcelain one was like a bit lighter, so that's why I put it under my eye, but this one is in the shade Ivory. So I either use this or a loose setting powder. I would say the pressed powder gives more of a, not a cakey look, but it does look like you're wearing makeup, or definitely mattifies you a lot more than the loose setting powder. So if I want to go for more natural, then I'll go for a loose one. I really like the Laura Mercier one, also the Fenty Beauty ones, and the One Size Cosmetics one is great. So there's a lot of great loose setting powder out there. And I use a Real Technique brush. This is the Light Layer Complexion brush. It looks like this. I pick up some powder and I'll wipe it around my face, really with no like precision, I guess. Just kind of want to lock in all the product. And next we're gonna do eyebrows. So first thing, I just use a regular spoolie and brush my eyebrows to get out any product, powder in them, anything really, before I put on the gel, because I don't fill in my eyebrows. They're pretty dark anyways, I don't really need it. I use the Benefit 24-hour brow setter, and this is a clear brow gel. Honestly, the best brow gel there is. Like, it doesn't flake or kind of like, it really sets your eyebrows in place. I highly recommend this if you've never tried this. And now we're gonna do eyeshadow, I guess. I really just put one color over my eyes so that I have some sort of definition, because I have really small eyes. So I use a eyeshadow brush like like this. This is from Morphe, but there's no numbers on it. And I use this Kylie Cosmetics eyeshadow palette, and I use this shade right here, which is Jenner Jeans. Put a little on it, not too much because I really don't want it like too dark, and I just put it on the lid and in the crease, and do the same on the other side. Pretty much it for the eyeshadow. I'm gonna get some highlight and put it in my inner corners and under my eyebrows. I use the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette, and I use both of the strobe shades, which are the white ones and this gold one. I'm gonna use this Morphe brush, which doesn't have a number on it either, and I basically get just a bit of both, put it in my inner corner, and that is it for my eyeshadow. Next, sometimes I will do a bit of eyeliner, and if I do, I use the Makeup by Mario eyeliner pencil in the shade Perfect Brown. I like a brown shade better than the black one, to be honest. It looks a bit more natural. I'll just do a little wing and that's it, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to move on straight to mascara. I use 2 different mascaras, and I curl my eyelashes with the Tweezerman eyelash curler, and then I'll do a coat of the Grande mascara. This is the conditioning peptide mascara, and I'll finish like the top of my lashes with this Refi lash sculpt mascara. So I basically do one eye at a time. I start by curling my lashes, so I'll hold it for like 10 to 15 seconds. I'll go in with the Grande mascara, kind of start at the roots of my lashes and bring it up a little bit, and I'm also going to do my bottom lashes with this mascara, and then I grab the Refi one, separate my lashes. I don't know, I really don't know if it does anything, but yeah. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. I don't have like really long eyelashes, to be honest. There's not much that can be done with mascara. I'm gonna try to make the best of what I have. So now that that's all done, I'm gonna move on to the last few steps. I'm pretty much almost done, honestly, when I get to mascara. I'm just gonna do a bit of bronzer. I use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush bronzer in the shade 2 medium, and I have this Real Techniques brush. This is the Ultimate Powder Blush. Just get a bit of bronzer, kind of bring out the contour that I did before, and a bit on my nose. For blush, I also kind of bounce around a lot, depends on what cream blush I put on, but today I'm going to use the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Powder Blush, and this is in the shade Creamy Peach, and I use this Refi dual brush, which is amazing if you've never tried it. I use this side of it, and to finish off, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Depending on how I'm feeling, I'll probably put one of these Summer Fridays on, to be honest. They're super moisturizing as well. So this one's the vanilla beige one. That is it for my makeup tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I gave you guys some inspiration of new products to try, or I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.